From beheadings to bombings, the shocking reality of Mexico's drug cartel war. The brutal clash between Mexico's most powerful drug cartels, CJNG versus Sinaloa. As the sun rises over the mountains of Mexico, another day begins in a brutal and deadly conflict that has been raging for years. It's the war between the CJNG and Sinaloa cartels, two of the most powerful and dangerous drug organizations in the country. The battle for control of drug trafficking routes and territory has led to countless killings, including those of high-ranking cartel members and innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. It's a conflict that has left a trail of devastation in its wake and has had far-reaching consequences for Mexico and beyond. In this video, we'll explore the brutal clash between Mexico's most powerful drug cartels, the CJNG and Sinaloa, and the impact of their ongoing conflict on the people and communities caught in the middle. So, sit back, buckle up, and get ready to delve into the dark and dangerous world of Mexico's drug cartels. The CJNG and Sinaloa cartels have very different origins, but both have risen to become two of the most powerful drug organizations in Mexico. The Sinaloa cartel was founded in the late 1980s by Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán and has been involved in the drug trade for decades. The CJNG, on the other hand, is a relatively new organization that emerged in the early 2010s and has rapidly expanded its operations. How have the CJNG and Sinaloa managed to become such powerful organizations, and what factors have contributed to their rise to power? Both the CJNG and Sinaloa cartels have a reputation for using brutal tactics to maintain control of their drug trafficking routes and territory. This includes public displays of violence, such as beheadings and bombings, as well as intimidation and bribery. Both cartels have also been known to target civilians, including journalists and politicians who speak out against them. What impact do the brutal tactics used by cartels like CJNG and Sinaloa have on the people and communities caught in the middle of the conflict? The ongoing war between the CJNG and Sinaloa cartels has had a significant impact on Mexico and its people. The violence and instability caused by the conflict have led to a breakdown in law and order in some areas, making it difficult for the government to provide basic services and protect its citizens. One of the most significant impacts of the drug trade in Mexico is the high level of violence associated with it. In 2020 alone, there were over 34,000 homicides in Mexico, many of which were linked to drug cartels. The violence and intimidation used by the cartels have also led to the climate of fear in some areas, with citizens afraid to speak out or take action against criminal organizations. The drug trade has also had a negative impact on the Mexican economy. The corruption and violence associated with drug trafficking have discouraged foreign investment, and the black market for drugs has led to a drain on the country's resources. The cost of fighting the drug trade has also been high, with the government spending billions of dollars each year on drug enforcement and anti-trafficking measures. In addition to the economic and social impact of the drug trade, there is also a human toll. The violence and instability have led to displacement, with many people forced to flee their homes and seek refuge elsewhere. The impact on children is particularly significant, with many forced to grow up in an environment of violence and fear. Overall, the impact of the ongoing conflict between the CJNG and Sinaloa cartels on Mexico and its people is significant and far-reaching. The situation remains complex and challenging, but there are steps that can be taken to address the issue and reduce the impact of the drug trade on society. How can Mexico combat the influence of drug cartels and reduce the impact of the drug trade on its economy and society? The impact of the ongoing war between the CJNG and Sinaloa cartels is not limited to Mexico alone, but extends to other countries around the world. Drug trafficking organizations like the CJNG and Sinaloa have expanded their operations into other countries, including the United States, and have been linked to money laundering, human trafficking, and other criminal activities. One significant impact of the drug trade is the flow of drugs across borders, which has led to an increase in drug-related crime and violence in other countries. The United States, for example, has been significantly impacted by the drug trade, with drug trafficking organizations responsible for much of the drug-related violence in major cities. The drug trade has also been linked to other criminal activities, including money laundering and human trafficking. The international impact of the drug trade has led to increased cooperation between countries in addressing the issue. The United States, for example, has provided significant support to Mexico in its efforts to combat the drug trade, including funding for anti-trafficking measures and training for law enforcement officials. Overall, the international impact of the ongoing conflict between the CJNG and Sinaloa cartels highlights the need for global cooperation and collaboration in addressing the issue. While the situation remains complex and challenging, working together to combat the influence of drug cartels can help reduce the impact of the drug trade on society as a whole. What can the international community do to help combat the influence of drug cartels and reduce the impact of the drug trade on a global scale?